Every story's got a spark, and every spark's got a name. This is the journey of finding mine. Who am I when the lights go low? Who am I when the world says no? Searching through my past, trying to free my soul. One truth at a time, letting every story unfold. Who am I?
Yeah, I'm more than the pain,
Who am I?
more than the pride. Who am I?
Who am I?
Walking in purpose, no mask, no disguise. This is my voice, my rise, my life. Welcome to Who Am I?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Who Am I podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Jeff Hopgood. But before we jump into today's episode, I just want to remind you about our new midweek motivational series, 10 Minutes to Refocus. See, this series was created for that midweek moment when life feels heavy, your energy is low, and your mind just needs to reset. It's 10 intentional minutes to breathe, realign, and refocus before you push yourself empty. I have to say, I am truly excited about this series. The feedback, the messages, the encouragement you all have been sending, it means more to me than you know. I am so grateful that something so simple is making such a real impact in your lives and my life as well. And thank you for showing up. Thank you for sharing it. And thank you for growing with me. So let's dive into today's episode. Are you lost in the wilderness, or are you being prepared for something greater? Because how you answer that question, it changes everything. So let me ask you something. How have you been doing today? And I'm not looking for the automatic response. You should know this by now. Not the I'm good, not the just busy, not the smile you've been putting on when someone asks you that in passing. But truly, how has your heart been? When you lay your head down at night, when the house is so quiet, when the distractions fade away, how have you been? Have you been carrying something and not telling anyone? Have you been showing up strong for everybody else while quietly feeling tired inside? Have you been in a quiet season lately? A season where things feel slower than you expected, where progress doesn't look like progress, where you thought by now you'd be further, a season where doors aren't opening, where you're knocking and praying and preparing, but nothing seems to be moving. A season where your phone isn't ringing, the invitations slow down, the opportunities feel delayed, and the affirmations got quiet. I'm talking about a season where people stopped clapping. They clapped when you started. They clapped when it was new. They clapped when it was visible, but now, silence. Because we live in a world that celebrates visibility. But growth doesn't always happen in visibility. Some seasons are loud. Some seasons are celebrated. Some seasons comes with announcements and applause and recognition, and then there's the wilderness. The season no one posts about. The season no one congratulates you for. The seasons where you show up every day and nobody notices. You're still disciplined. You're still praying. You're still working. You're still trying. But it feels unseen. And here's the dangerous part. If you don't understand what the wilderness is for, you'll start believing you've been forgotten. You'll start questioning your worth. You'll start comparing your field to someone else's palace. You'll start wondering if you missed your moment. But what if this isn't delay? What if this is development? What if the quiet isn't rejection? What if it's refinement? And if that's you right now, if you feel like you're in a season that doesn't make sense, stay with me. Lean in, because this episode might reframe your entire season. It might help you see that what feels empty is actually intentional. So let me take you somewhere, not to a stage, not to a spotlight, not to a platform, but to a field, to open skies, to dirt beneath your feet, to a cave where echoes are louder than applauses, to a wilderness. Let's talk about a young shepherd named David. Before the crown, before the victory, before the songs about his greatness, let's talk about the season no one clapped for. So when people talk about David, they often talk about the victory. They talk about the giant. They talk about the throne. They even talk about the kingdom, but they skip the wilderness. See, before he stood in front of Goliath, he stood alone in a field. Before he led armies, he led sheep. Before he wore a crown, he wore dust. David was overlooked in his own home. When the prophet came to anoint a king, David wasn't even invited to the meeting. His own father didn't think he was worth presenting. Let that sink in for a moment. He was chosen by God, but overlooked by people. That's wilderness. And some of you know that feeling. Gifted but unseen, capable but ignored, called but not celebrated. See, the wilderness is where you feel invisible. See, God does his deepest work in hidden places. See, David learned how to fight lions. He learned how to fight bears. He learned how to protect what was entrusted to him. And nobody clapped. No applauses, no audience, no recognition, just preparation. So let's bring this a little closer, because maybe your wilderness doesn't look like a field with sheep. Maybe it looks like uncertainty. There was a season in my life when everything felt unclear, not chaotic, not explosive, just unclear. See, the path forward wasn't obvious. The vision wasn't sharp. The outcome wasn't guaranteed. It felt like walking without a map, like driving at night with no street lights, just enough visibility to take the next step, but not enough to see the full road ahead. And if you're honest, if you're really honest, that kind of uncertainty can wear on you, as it did. Because I'm the type of person who likes directions, I like momentum, I like clarity. But in that season, there was none. See, I remember feeling isolated, even around people. That's a different kind of loneliness. Being in a room full of conversations, but feeling like nobody truly sees the questions running through your mind. Smiling on the outside, encouraging other people, showing up strong, but on the inside, constantly questioning. Am I behind? Did I miss my moment? Was there an opportunity that I was supposed to take that I hesitated on? Why does it feel like everyone else is moving forward and I'm still standing still? And you know what? Social media didn't help. Everybody seemed to be winning. Everybody seemed to be advancing. Everybody seemed to be announcing something new. And I'm thinking, what about me? That's the wilderness. And here's the thing most people don't tell you. It's not always dramatic. There's no thunder, no lightning, no crisis. Sometimes it's just quiet, too quiet. The phone isn't ringing. The opportunities aren't multiplying. The confirmation isn't coming, just silence. And silence has a way of amplifying your insecurities if you're not grounded. Because when it's quiet, you start hearing yourself more clearly. And if you're not careful, your inner critic gets loud and louder. You start replaying mistakes. You start revisiting regrets. You start overanalyzing decisions. Silence can make you question absolutely everything. It can make you question your calling, your timing, your capacity, and yes, even your identity. But here's what I discovered in that season. And I didn't realize it at first. I really didn't. The wilderness exposes who you are without noise, without applause, without validation, without distractions. There's no stage, no spotlight, and no crowd. It's just you. And when all the noise is stripped away, you're left with your thoughts. You're left with your habits, with your discipline, your faith, and yes, even your fears. It forces you to sit with yourself, and that can be uncomfortable because in our normal routine, we stay busy enough to avoid ourselves. We're constantly scrolling, we work, we serve, we produce, but the wilderness slows you down long enough to ask, who are you when nobody is watching? Who are you when nothing is trending? And who are you when nothing is progressing and when nothing is guaranteed? And that's a hard mirror to look into because in the wilderness, you can't perform. There's no audience to impress. There's no applause to chase. And there's no image to maintain. You can't hide behind productivity. You can't hide behind popularity, and you can't hide behind busyness. See, in the wilderness, you can't perform, you can only become. You either grow roots or you grow resentful. You either develop depth or you develop doubt. And that season taught me something powerful. If I could be steady in silence, I would be stable in success. And if I could trust in uncertainty, I would lead with confidence later. Because the wilderness wasn't trying to embarrass me, it was trying to build me. And sometimes what feels like being stuck is actually being shaped. So let me ask you a question, and I want you to really think about it. Are you in a wilderness season right now? Are you mistaking preparation for punishment? Are you interpreting silence as abandonment? What if this season isn't God stepping away? What if it's God shaping you quietly? I know the wilderness feels empty, but it's not empty. It's formative. Think about this. Seeds grow underground before they ever break the surface. No one ever claps for roots. No one ever celebrates the dark soil. But without that unseen growth, there's no visible fruit. See, isolation often precedes clarity. Silence often precedes strength. And faith, yes, faith is tested most when directions feel unclear. See, when you don't know where you're going, but you choose to keep walking anyway, that's faith. So let me ask you that's listening, have there ever been a point in your life where you didn't know where you were going, but you chose to keep walking anyway? If you were that person that lived that, just drop a brief comment and just share where you came from and just share what faith done for you in your life. So that way we can continue to build each other and grow together. Let's continue. What is the lesson in the wilderness? And why does it matter? See, the wilderness builds character, not reputation. It builds character, not popularity, but character. And character is who you are when nobody benefits from your goodness but you. See, the wilderness builds endurance because when things are unclear, when progress is slow, when affirmation is absent, you learn how to keep going without external fuel. You learn how to wake up and stay disciplined without being celebrated for it. You learn how to stay consistent when nobody is complimenting your consistency. That's what we call endurance. See, the wilderness builds humility because when you don't control the timing, when you don't control the outcome, when you don't control the visibility, you realize quickly you're not as in control as you thought. And humility does something so amazing. Humility stabilizes you. It grounds you. It keeps success from going to your head later. See, David didn't panic in front of Goliath. Why? Because he had history. He had private victories before the giant ever stepped onto the battlefield. David had already faced lions. He had already faced bears alone. No army behind him, no crowd cheering him on, no headlines documenting it, just him and the fight. So when Goliath showed up loud, intimidating, public, David wasn't shaken. He could say, I fought before. He had receipts. And that's what the wilderness gives you. Receipts, proof, evidence that you survived something hard, evidence that you stayed faithful when it was quiet, evidence that you didn't quit when it would have been easy to. See, the wilderness gives you stories you can pull from later. When doubt whispers, you can't handle this, you can respond, I've handled worse. See, when fear says you're not ready, you can answer back and say, I've been training. And here's something powerful. The wilderness teaches you who you are when nobody is watching. When there's no camera, no platform, no recognition, it reveals your true discipline. Are you still committed when it's boring? Are you still ethical when it's unnoticed? Are you still prayerful when no one sees you kneel? Because if you only grow in public, you won't last in private. Think about it for a second. And if your identity depends on applause, you'll crumble in silence. See, if you need validation to stay consistent, the quiet will break you. But if you build depth in the dark, you'll be steady in the light. See, the wilderness strips away performance. It strips away the version of you that performs for approval. It strips away the need to be seen. It strips away the mask. And when the mask comes off, you're left with authenticity. And authenticity is powerful because authenticity doesn't panic when pressure rises. Authenticity doesn't fold when opinions shift. Authenticity doesn't need constant reassurance. See, the wilderness forces depth, and depth sustains destiny. Can I say that again? Depth sustains destiny. See, talent can open doors. Charisma can even attract attention, but only depth keeps you there. Without depth, success becomes stress. Without depth, influence becomes insecurity. And without depth, promotion becomes pressure. If you skip the wilderness season that nobody claps for, you won't be strong enough for the palace, because the palace comes with visibility. It comes with responsibility. It even comes with scrutiny. It comes with pressure. And if your roots aren't deep, the weight of elevation will crush you. The wilderness is where your roots go down, where your faith deepens, where your motives are purified, where your confidence is built on substance, not applause. And when you finally step into your next season, you won't just look ready, you'll be ready. So now here's the part I love. I absolutely love this part because the wilderness is not permanent. See, David didn't stay in the field forever. The same boy who was overlooked became king. The same shepherd who fought in obscurity stood in victory. But he was ready. See, the wilderness didn't break him, it built him. And your wilderness is building you too. That season where no one clapped, that season where no one noticed, that season where you felt behind, it's not wasted. You're not lost, you're being layered. You're being strengthened, you are being refined. And one day, when the opportunity comes, when the giant shows up, when the door finally opens, you know what? You won't panic. You'll step forward with quiet confidence because you'll always remember the wilderness. So here's my final reflection. So I'll leave you with this question. Are you lost or are you being prepared? Because how you label this season will determine how you walk through it. If you call it lost, you'll move with frustration. If you call it forgotten, you'll move with resentment. But if you call it behind, you'll move with insecurity. But this is what you have to do. You have to call it preparation. Because if you call it preparation, you'll move with purpose. And let me say something clearly. Get this. Just because you can't see the destination doesn't mean you're not moving. Just because it's quiet doesn't mean nothing is happening. And just because nobody is clapping doesn't mean you're not growing. Don't quit in the field. Please don't quit in the field. See, the field is where strength is built. The field is where discipline is developed. The field is where you learn to be faithful over small things before being trusted with greater ones. Don't abandon the cave. Don't abandon the cave. The cave is where clarity forms. It's where you hear your own thoughts. It's where fear gets confronted. It's where insecurity gets exposed and healed. Don't despise the quiet. I cannot stress that enough. Do not despise the quiet because the quiet is where your roots grow. And roots grow downward before anything grows upward. No one applauds for roots. I can't stress that enough. No one celebrates the unseen growth, as we mentioned before. But without roots, there is no stability. And without depth, there is no sustainability. And without preparation, there is no power. The season no one claps for may be the very season that defines you. And the season that feels slow may be the one that strengthens you. See, the season that feels hidden may be the one that protects you. You may not see it yet, but one day you will look back at this season and say, that's where I learned discipline. That's where I found my voice. That's where my faith deepened. And that's where I stopped needing approval. That's where I became stronger than I knew. And here's the impactful shift I want you to carry with as we close. Stop asking, when will this end? but start asking, what is this building in me? Stop asking, why is this happening to me? But start asking, who am I becoming because of this? Because the wilderness isn't where you disappear, it's where you develop. And when the opportunity comes, when the doors open, and when the moment arrives, you won't step into it fragile. You won't step into it desperate. You'll step into it ready. So if you're in the field, stay faithful. If you're in the cave, stay grounded. If you're in the quiet, stay growing. Because you're not lost, you're being prepared. And preparation always precedes purpose. But let me just slow this part down just for clarity. So as I mentioned before, you're not lost, because when you're lost, that means there's no directions. It means there's no intention. It means there's no growth happening. Just wondering. But what you're in right now, it may feel confusing. It may feel slow. It may even feel uncertain. But confusion does not equal abandonment. Delay does not equal denial. Silence does not equal absence. You're not wandering aimlessly. You're developing intentionally. You're being prepared. So when I say you're being prepared, preparation means something is being built in you before something is entrusted to you. This is what preparation looks like. Preparation looks like learning patience when you want speed, learning discipline when you want results, learning humility when you want recognition, and learning consistency when you want applause. See, preparation strengthens your foundation so that when opportunity comes, you don't crumble under it. Think about it this way. A building doesn't start with the roof. It starts with the foundation. And the foundation is the part nobody sees, but it's the part that holds everything up. That's preparation. And preparation always precedes purpose, because purpose is visible, preparation is hidden. Purpose is often celebrated, preparation is often lonely. Purpose feels powerful, preparation feels stretched. But you cannot sustain purpose without preparation. See, if purpose arrived before preparation, you wouldn't have the character to hold it. You wouldn't have the endurance to survive it. You wouldn't have the wisdom to manage it. See, preparation is what makes purpose safe for you. So when I say you're not lost, you're being prepared, I'm really saying this. What feels like delay may actually be development. What feels like isolation may actually be instruction. And what feels like silence may actually be strengthening. See, your current season is not a detour, it's construction. And when construction is happening, it can look messy, but it's intentional. So instead of asking, why am I stuck? Ask, what is being built in me right now in this very moment, in this season of my life? Because when the doors open, when the opportunity comes, and when the platform expands, you won't just be excited, you'll be ready. And see, that's why preparation always comes before purpose. And that's why you're not lost, you're in training. So before we move forward, I want you to pause for just a moment. Take a breath. Wherever you are, whatever you're carrying, this next part is for you. Let's speak life over ourselves out loud if you can. Because what we say in this moment has the power to shift how we walk into the rest of our day. Let's begin with our affirmation. I am not defined by my past or limited by my mistakes. I am growing, learning, and becoming who I was created to be. I have values beyond titles, roles, and expectations. I choose honesty over fear and growth over comfort. I am allowed to change, heal, and evolve. I walk with purpose, clarity, and courage. I am becoming more aligned with my true self every day, and who I am is enough. So as we close today's episode, I want to thank you for taking this time for yourself. If something you heard inspired you, challenged you, or made you pause and reflect, please don't keep it to yourself. Share this episode with someone who may need it. Invite them into the conversation. See, this podcast grows when we grow together. I cannot do this without you. Through shared stories, honest reflections, and real connections. See, every listen, every share, every conversation helps create a community rooted in purpose, rooted in hope, rooted in love, rooted in faith and truth. So until next time, keep reflecting, keep becoming, and remember, you matter. This is the Who Am I podcast, and let's walk this journey together.
Who am I? Yeah, I'm more than the pain. Who am I? More than the pride. Who am I? Who am I? Walking in purpose, no mask, no disguise. This is my voice, my rise, my life. Welcome to Who